All right, everyone, welcome back to Fandom from Afar, which turns out is a somewhat special episode today. I've been saving this interview till baseball season was about to start back up, and it is the biggest baseball fan I know who also happens to be my younger sister. So welcome, Krista.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I didn't really talk to you about this, and I didn't know if you were wondering if you were ever going to get to be on the podcast, but in my mind, I was always planning on it being around baseball season, so I guess I could have communicated that and actually told you that.
Yeah, no, that's good. I wasn't sure since I'm really not like afar from my
That's true.
love of my team.
You've stayed loyal to all our hometown teams.
Yes, that's true.
But I had to get you going for baseball season, and spring training is just around the corner. And we happened to be sitting in our parents' basement, and our family hobby when we were growing up was going to spring training and just really going anywhere where we could try and collect autographs. So we are surrounded by inspiration today. So I'm hoping you have stories that go along with all these pictures surrounding us today.
Yes, probably too many that most people want to hear, but
I think that's good.
I got lots.
In fact, in one of our games, you earn a bonus point for a bonus story.
Ooh.
Yes. So stay tuned. So just like with all my other podcasts, I kind of want to start out with your origin story, which in this case is kind of unusual because I was there for it and I probably know it, but I want you to share it with all our millions of listeners who don't know your origin story about how you became the biggest fan of the Colorado Rockies.
Okay, well, thank you for that accolade. I'd like to think I was the biggest fan of the Rockies too, so I think it all started when, obviously, the Rockies became a team in 1993, and I was just about 9 years old, basically. And I didn't really know a whole lot about baseball in general, didn't really know what to expect about having a major league team. But I do remember you being excited about it. And so most of the things that you were excited about, I was also excited about.
Because I was so cool.
Exactly. And then I specifically remember coming home from school and you had opening day on the television, I believe. And I think the game was live at that point because it was an afternoon game. But I remember...
Can I give you some details?
Yes.
So if I'm remembering it correctly, I think I was in... I guess I would have been in 6th grade, and we had just got home from Outdoor Lab.
Yeah.
And it was the home opener. And obviously there's a cool story about the very first batter of the home opener.
Yep, for sure. Yep, I was thinking Outdoor Lab had something to do with it because I wasn't sure if you missed it or if you were just getting home. But yes, that makes sense. So I was watching the game with you, and then players come up that I don't know who they are. So I'm like, all right, I got to find a favorite player. Let's see who speaks to me here. And then a guy by the name of Eric Young comes up and hits a home run to start the game, right? Like,
yeah, he was the leadoff hitter.
The very first hitter of the Rockies' whole thing.
Yeah.
So he hits a home run. The announcer just had a really, really cool, like, it's mile high and out of here type of saying. And I think ever since that moment, I was like, ooh, this is fun. Like, I like him. He became my favorite player. And it kind of just took off in a ball of fury from there on, I'd say.
Ball of fury. Yes, that's one way to describe your fanship. I would agree with that. A ball of fury. And you stayed loyal to him. He was your favorite player till he left the team, basically. Yep.
There was a few times where, he was my favorite player. Back in the day, it was hard to get jerseys. They either didn't make them of who I wanted or whatnot, and I'm sure I'll speak about that another time too, but he was the first jersey I wanted, and so I remember going to make a Rockies jersey, and it had number 21 Young on the back, and I wore that thing like crazy. I remember a couple times he got hurt, and I would cry in my room and didn't want to come out. And then, of course, when he got traded, and I was also upset too. So that was,
You had that emotional attachment to the players.
I definitely started at a young age there. Yep.
No, I remember that first team. It was just such a big deal to get a team. Like, and obviously we were right around the right age to really get hooked in. And with baseball being on every day during the summer, it was just perfect. Like we literally watched every single game and loved all those players and thought they were so great, even though most of them are probably barely major league talent.
Exactly.
But it was still great. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. And then like you mentioned too with like the autographs, I think Dad took us to get a few of those original Rockies autographs the very first year. David Need, I remember, and a few of those people, and that just kind of reeled me in, I would say, with that whole thing and just becoming a super fan.
And it was perfect too, just because it was so fun to go to the games. It was just, like I said, it kind of gave us something to do during the summer, but we had never experienced anything like it before. So it was also brand new. So it was just like all these perfect coincidences that just happened to be like, okay, well, you guys are going to be baseball fans now.
Exactly.
So it was good.
Yeah.
So how do you think your fandom grew as you became like middle school, high school? The Rockies have been around for a while, but like obviously I think you became more and more of a fan, even though you were obviously a very big fan right from the beginning. But like, how do you think, were there any instances or players that really kind of jumped you up a level and you just went from a fan to a fanatic?
I think the obvious answer there is when we started to go to spring training. That would have been 1996, I believe, was the first year we went down there. And it was one of those things where I was a big Rockies fan and whatnot, but our spring breaks at that age usually consisted of Disneyland or San Diego or something like that. And I remember Mom and Dad saying, well, or Las Vegas, because we also went there a lot, which was strange as children. But Mom and Dad saying, we're going to go to spring training and watch the Rockies practice, and instead of going to one of those places. And I was kind of bummed, and I was like, oh man, like those are my other favorite places. But then I walk into, it was Tucson, Arizona back then, and it was like all of my dreams came true in one place. They had baseball and I had cactus, and I didn't realize like how cool spring training was at that point, where you can get so close to the players, you can get autographs so much easier, you could just get to watch them in their like true element.
It was nice to get out of the cold.
Yes, for sure. It was a perfect time of year to go down there. And so yeah, that first spring training trip, I remember we got tons of autographs, and my thing also is getting pictures with the players. So then you kind of get to know them and they kind of start to remember you. And that was the beginning of it for me. It was like, all right, spring training is the coolest place ever. And now I just can't wait for.
Well, and you had a good streak going where how many years in a row did you go to spring training from that first year?
I believe it was, I want to say like 17 or 18 years.
Yeah, I knew it was something crazy.
I went every single year until I think one of my last years in college when I didn't get to go. And then I missed 1 year and then now have been back every year since again. So I think I've been down there probably about 26 years now total.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the pictures of, like, you were always really good about getting pictures with the players. And then you started a nice little cycle where you would get a picture of the player and then bring it back the next year to get them to autograph that picture and then get a new picture, then kind of keep it going.
Yeah.
And like you said, they really did start to remember you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, and that makes it more fun too, because the players know that I'm not there to sell the autographs. I'm not there for any money things at all. I really just enjoy meeting them and getting to kind of see who they are as a person and not just a player. And yeah, it was really fun getting to see, they would comment on how different they looked from last year to the next year, and I would too. And so it was just a really cool relationship. Yeah,
it's always fun because you could tell it really disarmed them. Like, I guess I would kind of get that just being around you, because they knew, oh, I'm just with Krista, so I'm okay to sign for as well. Because there was a lot of guys my age or a little bit older that were definitely trying to just sell stuff.
Yeah,
they're having like a whole case of baseballs. Like, oh, here, sign on the sweet spot, please. It's like, oh, okay, how much you can sell that for?
Yeah.
So it was nice for all of us that you became friends with all of them.
Yeah. I mean, it was favorite vacation spot for sure. But yeah, I think just spring training in general is like the coolest place ever if you're a baseball fan to go. So
can you describe maybe like a typical day for you in spring training? Because I think you kind of have it down to a science.
I did, yes. Back in Tucson, it was like I would make Dad and either you or sometimes Sarah get up really early while it was still dark, and we would head to the park. This would probably be like 6:30 a.m., maybe 7, and head to the park where the players would park their cars, and we would pretty much just be waiting there for them as they walk into their day of training.
Not creepy at all.
Which, yeah, looks sounds a little stalkerish when I look back at it, but for the most part, they didn't seem to mind, and that's when we would get to talk to them and say hi, whatnot, and they were always very good about it, I would say, 90% of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we would kind of start our morning nice and early with that, and then a lot of the times we wouldn't even stay for that game. We would go back and then swim and do like kind of more non-baseball related activities, and then go back to the park too occasionally. But for the most part, we would wake up and do that morning autograph picture routine every day that we were down there for 4 or 5 days in a row, and then get a couple games in. And then we would always look forward to going out to dinner afterwards, because then sometimes we would see players at dinner, and we have stayed in the team hotel a few times, and then we would play pool and ping pong with them too with the minor leaguers. And so that was really cool, because then you got to meet some of the up and coming people that nobody knows of.
Yeah, so you started making friends with them real early.
Yeah. So it was definitely, I think I had an advantage because I was at that time probably just a teenage girl. So like you said, nothing really threatening, and they really couldn't say no to me too much. So
some of those guys probably had never had like real fans before. Yeah. So in a way, they probably just thought it was fun.
That's true. I think a lot of them actually did appreciate, and they would constantly tell me like, hey, thanks for all your support. Or they would actually try to give me their jerseys and balls and hats and whatever. So it was just like one of those nice things where I never felt like I was like overbearing, and never tried to be like too much, but just enough where it was like, hey, they know who I am. I'll get an autograph or a picture. They'll be nice to me in return, and I'll wear your jersey and support you, and that type of thing. So
yeah, it was really a fun hobby. And kind of like you said, the actual games of spring training were far down the list of priorities for us.
Yeah.
Like, we would kind of get the autographs done in the morning, and then just kind of have great family time the rest of the day. So it was really fun. Like it was worth waking up early and doing that. So,
exactly. I thought so too.
I think most people would trade that experience with, if they went to the game, they would love to like meet and talk to a player. And we just happen to know like a way around that, and just being able to do that first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And they were, like you said, they were always really nice. And it would take us aback sometimes whenever there was a player that was kind of grumpy or didn't want to, but like looking back on it, they don't owe us anything.
Right.
Like who knows what they were dealing with at the time. Like their career could have been on the line if they didn't do well that day or something. And we're like, please sign our ball.
Exactly.
And so it's like, get out of here, kid.
Yeah.
But that, I would say, for the vast majority, they were great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I loved it very much. And it did change a little bit once they moved to Scottsdale, became a bigger city and a bigger stadium, and started to have a little more security and things like that. So Tucson was definitely like the glory days, I would say, with that. But I also got older and kind of grew out of the fangirling a little bit as well. So it worked out just fine.
Yeah, exactly. What about while you were back in Denver and like just say watching the games or going to the games? How did your fandom kind of grow or change over the years for that?
I think it was very, very strong and consistent. I think I was definitely the biggest Rockies fan I knew, probably growing up all through high school. Everybody kind of would consider me that as well. I also went to every opening day possible. I think that streak is actually still active, that I haven't missed an opening day, but my first one wasn't until I think it was 97, I believe. It was a year after we went to spring training. You
slacker. Why did you even bring that up? That's only like 26 years. Who cares?
So yeah, I think it was just one of those things where I'm like, all right, well, this is my passion. This is my love. I'm not missing opening day. I had, I had a lot of like ticket packages for they had a thing called Ladies Fan Club, and I would be a part of that. And we would share partial season tickets, and then I would just buy tickets. And luckily, they've never been super expensive because we haven't been really good. So it's just one of those things where I just go to as many games as possible and hope that someone wants to tag along and go with me.
And if not, who cares? It's their loss. The World Series team sticks out to me. That was obviously our best team who made it the farthest.
Yep.
Does that team stick out as like maybe the season in your mind, or was there other teams that maybe you just like were super attached to that stick out even more than the World Series team?
I would say actually the World Series team and run, I think I could name them from, top to bottom. If I saw a team roster, or even without a team roster, I probably could name a lot of them. So that team was definitely memorable, best team we've had. But if you're asking like my favorite, most memorable team or year or whatever, it's actually probably like the 2005 Rockies, where it was a complete rebuilding year. They called them Todd and the Toddlers.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was basically Todd Helton was the only veteran, and then that's when a few of my favorite players that I had met at spring training, Clint Barmas, Ubaldo, Corey Sullivan, like those guys were all coming and like just making their major league appearance or major league debuts and starting to become more everyday players. And so I was super excited because it was all these guys that I'd been watching in spring training in the minor leagues for about 5 years, and now they're all finally in the big leagues. So I felt like it was like, all right, like my time wasn't wasted type of thing. So
I could see that because, yeah, like you said, you had personal connections with those guys and kind of saw them rising up the ranks.
I felt like I watched them grow.
Yeah, I get that. And then, of course, you mentioned Todd. He was one of our favorite players growing up for both of us, and just got the word that he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So, of course, you already have your reservations in Cooperstown that you're going to go see him.
Yes.
So, again, if anyone had any doubts, she is the biggest Rockies fan in the world.
I went to the Hall of Fame induction party at the DNVR bar, and we watched it. We actually showed up like 5 hours early just because I wanted to make sure I got a table. And they announced his name, and I was just like, you would have thought we just won the World Series or a Super Bowl or something huge. And then about 10 seconds later, Dad texted me a couple of our pictures that we had gotten with Todd at spring training, and I just started crying, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, and I'm a little bit crazy as well, but this is really cool.
It is fun, though. We literally saw his whole career, and it's special because not only was he really good, but the fact that he spent the entire career in Denver,
Yep.
like he was a leader, best player,
Yep.
just everything you could ask for out of a player. So it's pretty fun to
it was
see him get
awesome.
rewarded for that.
Yep, I think, and between like myself and Mom and Dad and whatnot, I've always said like this is our only chance at a Hall of Famer that I know of in a lot of years. So even when he was 10, 15 years ago, I said if he ever makes the Hall of Fame, I need to be there. Like this is a special player for sure. So
yeah, the fact that Larry Walker already got in and now Helton, I don't think the Rockies are going to have anybody get inducted for quite a while.
Not anytime soon.
Well, Nolan, but I don't even know if he'll go in as a Rocky after we were just like shipping him out for a bag of beans.
Nope.
So let's talk about your job with the Rockies now, or technically MLB. So you are kind of getting to live out the dream and get paid to watch the Rockies now. Yes. Can you tell the listeners what you do?
Yeah, kind of took my fandom to a whole different level a little bit, but basically about 9 years ago, Dad worked in guest relations at Coors Field, and he worked in the press box for a while. And of course, he likes to talk to everybody, which is good. And he had talked to a few of the original people that did this job and told them, hey, if you guys ever need somebody else, my daughter loves baseball. She would be great at whatever you want to do. And so he ended up getting my name into the bucket a little bit, and I got a call from my now boss basically asking if I wanted to do a thing called the pitch timing. Let's see. Now it's called the pitch clock, but at that time it was called...
Do you actually work there?
At that time, it's called field timing coordinator. So, but yeah, so I started with that, and yeah, I basically get paid to watch the game that I love and sit in the press box and get to be like a part of the game basically, and it's super super cool.
I think it's awesome. Like, how many years have you been doing it now?
This will be my 9th season.
Wow. So yeah, it's been fun just to see that position evolve, but also just the fact that you've been able to make it work with your life and just making it something that you get to do. Like, how many baseball fans would kill to do that position? So I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It kind of put things in perspective a little bit because since I was always such a huge fan, and then I get this job, and it really was a dream come true. But they said one of the first things, like, you can't cheer when you're in the press box. You can't show allegiance to any team.
So that was probably hard.
My gosh, that is the hardest part for sure. I've gotten used to it, but it's still like super, super hard I have to sit on my hands like a few times and not clap. So.
Well, like you said too, they haven't really been great the last couple of years. So at least that helps cut down on the opportunities where you would need to cheer. But I think it's awesome, and it's just been so fun. We started out so young with the team, just to see you grow up as a baseball fan and really never let it go. I've faded out since I moved to Florida, and just it's hard to keep track of the team, especially when they're not that great, and I don't have the personal connection with any of the players. But like, you've been strong the whole time, and it's just fun to see. And everyone's always shocked. It's like, oh, who's the biggest baseball fan you know? I'm like, oh, that's my sister. Like, what? Yeah, it's like I know it's crazy. Yeah. People still are shocked that girls can be baseball fans too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's been impressive just to see your amount of knowledge and passion for the game. Like, it's fun. Like, good. Things that you love, you shouldn't be ashamed of.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't think there really was a time where I ever like tried to hold back on my enthusiasm or love either. Cause I think it is one of those things where it's like, oh, girls don't know that much about sports, or if you do, then you're not cool or whatever. But I never really felt like I ever had to change myself or who I was. I was like, nope, this is who I love. This is what I love doing. And I think it's always just been a big part of me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, should we play some games to make you think about the players in ways you've never thought about them before?
I'm excited.
All right. So the first game I want to play with you is my starting 9 game. So I just want you to make your starting 9. So that means you have to fill in each position around the diamond and one pitcher. And it doesn't have to be who you think is the best players. I just want to know your favorites, because I know you have plenty of favorites, but it'll be interesting to see you make decisions at certain positions. So let's start with the outfield.
Ooh, this is tough. Okay. The outfield is hard. I
thought the infield was going to be harder for you.
Well, I mean, actually, that's what I'm thinking. Like, the infield is hard because I have so many, but the outfield, like, I don't really have anybody that stands out too much that I like have really liked in the outfield.
Oh, I got you. So it's harder for a different reason.
Yeah, there's people that I like, obviously, but I'm gonna say Brad Hopp.
Okay.
Because he was just super, super nice. One of those like 2005 and the Toddler guys. I think I need to put Charlie Blackmon out there because he's been around forever. Also has always been a cool guy, and he's just super unique, and he loves the game. So Charlie's out there. And my third outfielder, man, that's tough. That's hard. I
guess now that I'm thinking about it, so many of your favorite players have been infielders.
Yeah, they really have. So I probably just have to go with Corey Sullivan, just because he's been around forever, and now I get to see him in the press box, and we still say hi and talk and whatever. So I'm going to go with Corey because he's an OG.
I'll take it. All right, now we're getting tougher. Well, actually, let's go with an easy one. Pitcher.
Ubaldo.
I figured. Now the infield.
First base is Todd Helton.
Nice.
Obviously. Shortstop is Trevor Story.
Oh, interesting. You went right to shortstop.
Yeah.
Trevor was the top, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do love Trevor. Third base is probably, I know it's also not a very popular pick, but Garrett Atkins.
Okay. I was still expecting Nolan.
Nope. I wasn't ever a huge Nolan fan, even though he was great and I love watching him play. He was just one of those that for some reason just never really spoke to me. Not like literally, but like,
Yeah.
I just he's just not up in my top 5.
Because I know for a fact that you did speak to him personally because you got Evelyn a autograph ball
That's true.
when we went to the game in Atlanta.
Yes, he did. So yeah, no, he has been nice the couple times that I've actually met him. So nothing against that at all, but I'm just going to go with Garrett Atkins.
That's fine. He was right during that era where we were like obsessed with the team.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's my problem. I'm just kind of stuck in 2005 apparently. And then second base, I got to put Clint Barmas there because he probably should have been a shortstop top, but I feel like he played second a lot as well, and he has to be in my infield.
Okay, so I forgot about that. I'll allow it because he did actually play second base. But yeah. I thought the big decision was going to be between Trevor and Clint, but
okay,
you were able to get them both in. So
yes,
good for you.
Thank you.
Catcher
is going to be Ben Petrick.
Oh, nice.
Yep, he was a very awesome person from spring training for the first. He was actually one that you had told me about. I remember like one of the first spring trainings that he was supposed to be one of our top prospects.
Yep.
I had never heard anything about him, and then I met him, and then it was one that we ended up kind of following him for the next like 10 years basically. So Ben Petrick is my catcher, and yeah.
You can add in a relief pitcher if you really want to, but you don't have to.
Curtis Laskanik.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was awesome.
Very good.
Loved.
He was old school.
I know. Yeah. He was fun to watch and a fun guy too.
I remember we went to his autograph signing at some store and he was having all the people that came to get his autograph sign his, what's it called? Tablecloth.
Oh, really? That's cool. I don't remember that.
I always thought that was cool because younger me was like, oh, he's probably going to hang that up. But like he probably threw that away right away. But it was just something to talk about.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that's good. I like that. You stepped around the landmine of Clint and Trevor by having them both play. So
yeah, luckily.
I'll accept it.
Okay. I mean, honorable mention, probably I got to put Nafi Perez in there at some point too, but he was also shortstop.
Yeah.
So there's just no room.
Yep. You've always liked the shortstops.
I've always liked shortstops.
Hey, everyone. This is Brian. For the first time ever, we have a live update for our podcast guest. Krista thought about it a little bit more after we got done recording, and she realized that she forgot some of her all-time favorite players in her starting 9. So I wanted to correct that right here, right now, and give you her actual answers after she thought about it just a little bit more. So in left field, she actually has Ryan Spilborghs, which I always just called Spilly. And he was a fan favorite. Krista definitely was a huge fan of his. And I think she actually gets to work with him quite a bit at Coors Field now. In center, Charlie Blackmon. And then in right field, Brad Hopp. And then another change she wanted to make was her third baseman is Jeff Baker, which I think Jeff was one of the guys that she got to know at spring training. He was definitely a big-time prospect that we all kind of had big hopes for. I remember him being a solid player, but I also remember Krista being a huge fan of Jeff Baker. And other than that, she stuck with everybody else. She had Trevor Story at short, Clinton Barmas at second, Todd at first, Ben Petrick as her catcher, and Ubaldo as her pitcher. So that is the update, and we will get back to the episode. Now, bonus question. How many of those starting 9 did you have a jersey for?
Let's see. I just had... Well, I had about 4 Clint Barmas jerseys.
Yes.
The first one I ordered came in spelled incorrectly.
He did have a funny name.
It was Barnes instead of Barmas. And then I got 3 more after that. I had a Ubaldo jersey, and I had 2 or 3 Trevor Story jerseys actually as well. So, just 3.
Oh, really? None of those outfielders?
Uh-uh.
And Garrett?
No. No.
Interesting.
Yep.
Now, who were you most upset with when they got traded or cut?
I would say the Clint Barmas trade hit me the hardest because he was my favorite for so long, and
Yeah, so he was kind of the peak of your obsessed fandom.
Yep, yeah, and we were like pretty good like friends. He was friends with the whole family at that point too. Like,
yeah, he legit knew who you were, and like you guys would have conversations.
Yep,
like,
yeah.
it wasn't just like he recognized your face. He knew you.
Yeah, and he was great to everybody. But
do you remember who he got traded for? Like, did we get anything good?
I don't remember. I don't feel like we've gotten anybody good for any of the trades of my favorite players. Shocking.
What? The Rockies do so well in trades. What?
Yeah, no, I cannot remember who we got for him, but I usually don't like the person that we get in the trade for whoever they are, so I think I try to just block them out of my memory. Even
Acceptable.
though it's totally not their fault at all, but that's my grudge that I hold, and let's stick to it.
So you named your top 9 favorite players. And another thing that I know about you is you are probably one of the biggest Bachelor fans in the world. So let's picture this for me. Those 9 guys are lined up in some fancy living room. They're all wearing fancy suits. Everybody has their hair done, except for Charlie, of course. And you have a rose to give out. But just one. One rose for your all-time favorite player. Who gets your rose?
Oh, my goodness. Why?
For those at home, she is really stressed about this decision, as if it's going to matter.
Yeah, this is real life. If it excuse me, if it's based off of my all-time favorite player and not like who
It's
I
up
want.
however you want to qualify it.
Who looks the
however
nice.
you decide who gets the rose.
Oh, I gotta go Clint Barmas, I think still. Yeah, he just was my all-time favorite and just an awesome person. But
I'm not surprised. I think that's who I would have guessed.
yeah.
Now you have to have the 8 awkward conversations with the other guys. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm so sorry.
Those are always so funny. It's like, they're like, why didn't you choose me? It's like, do you really want me to tell you?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to play another game. The Bachelor Rose kind of eases us into our next game.
Okay.
Which is, I normally do a name match, like kind of a mash up. But as I was doing my research for today's episode, all the Bachelors seem to have just names that did not work for my game. So we're kind of doing a different sort of game called Matchup, where you're going to match the Rockies player that has the same first name with a Bachelor.
All right.
I will give you clues. You get 3 clues. If you get it on the first clue, you get 3 points. If you get it on the second clue, you get 2 points. If you get it on the third clue, you still get 1 point.
Okay.
And if you don't, then you're just not a super fan.
I'm not a fan like I thought I was.
Okay. So, matchup. The first matchup is this Bachelor was the Bachelor for season 7. I don't know if you're familiar with the season numbers, but I'm expecting those not to be very helpful for you.
Nope.
This Rocky is a 4-time All-Star. So any guesses after the first clue? And it's okay if you don't, because they're designed not to be that helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot, I don't know.
Second clue. This Bachelor is brother-in-law with Rebecca Romaine, famous for being in an X-Men movie.
Whoa.
And this Rocky made his MLB debut in June of 2011. Now remember, their first names match.
2000.
Do you have any idea for the Bachelor or the Rocky?
I'm just trying to think. Like it's like my 2 favorite worlds colliding, and my brain is
But I purposely set out these clues that you're not going to get it right away. So
Okay.
don't feel bad.
I know.
Okay.
I don't got
So
it.
the third clue, this bachelor is the younger brother of actor Jerry, and they have the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
And this Rocky is well known for his beard and mullet.
Troy Tulowitzki? What? Beard and mullet?
I think so.
Oh, Charlie?
Charlie.
Charlie? Oh, I
It's
don't
Charlie Blackman.
know. Why
And
did
then-
I not get that?
Do you know the Bachelor?
No.
Well, obviously his first name is Charlie.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think.
Charlie O'Connell was the Bachelor.
Okay.
He was from season 7. Jerry O'Connell, who's a
Yeah.
famous actor, is his brother, and
Dang.
he was married to Rebecca Romaine.
I did not know.
So 0 points on that
yeah,
one.
I've really failed that first one.
It's all right. We're just getting warmed up. We're getting warmed up. This one I have no doubt that you're going to get. This Bachelor was the Bachelor on season 11 and 15. That should be a pretty big clue because I think he's the only one that's done it twice. And this Rocky was a one-time All-Star. You know the Bachelor that's done it more than once.
Is he the only bachelor to do it more than once?
To be the actual Bachelor,
Is he?
like
Okay.
it wasn't like he was a contestant on Bachelorette. He was the legit Bachelor twice.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Imagine my surprise.
Oh man. Oh.
Second clue.
Okay.
This Bachelor's favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh no, I got it.
Yep, I figured. Well, I had to balance it out because I thought that first clue was so good.
I know it is.
This Rocky, remember he was a one-time All-Star, is a lefty. Just remember that very helpful clue about To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mockingbird. This is yeah. I'm
Third clue.
just trying to think of.
Third clue. This Bachelor has a twin named Chad. Sorry. And this Rocky has a last name of what a bunny does. Sorry, I couldn't say it without laughing. I'm so dumb.
What a bunny.
What does a bunny do?
Brad Hop.
Hey!
Yay!
Sorry.
Yay!
That was the worst clue I've ever given. And
Oh,
then, do you know who the Bachelor is? First name Brad, obviously.
I don't remember his last name, but I can picture him.
Yeah,
But-
Brad Womack was his name.
Oh yeah.
Brad Womack.
Okay.
So good. You got 1 point for
Finally.
that one.
Thank goodness your clue was so good.
All right. This Bachelor was the Bachelor on season 20. And this Rocky made his MLB debut in September of 1999. So we went old school with the Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Second clue?
Yep.
Yep. Second clue. This Bachelor co-owns a restaurant named Ashkara.
Ben Higgins.
Hey, look at you getting 2 points. And do you want the second clue for the Rocky?
Yeah.
He is the author of a book called 40,000 to 1. Now remember, you already know the first name.
Yeah. Benjamin. Oh shoot. Is he a pitcher?
Nope.
Oh. I don't know. Makes his major league debut in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have him on our wall, do we?
That's what I was just looking. Third clue?
Yeah.
All right, so you already know the Bachelor. He's from Denver. And then, unfortunately, this Rocky was diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Oh, Ben Petrick.
It was Ben Petrick.
Oh gosh, how did I not?
I know. I said you
I
mentioned him earlier.
He's
but-
one of my top 9, and I didn't say his name.
But you got the Bachelor on the second clue, so I'm gonna give you 2 points for that one.
Okay.
All right. So see, you're warming up.
That's right.
All right. Our last one. This Bachelor was the Bachelor on season 18. And then fun fact about this Rocky is that he never ages.
Clue number 2, please.
Oh, okay. This Bachelor was a former soccer player.
Juan Pablo?
And this Rocky was a 3-time stolen base leader.
Juan Pierre?
Hey!
Yay!
Look at you getting points all over the place now. Very good.
He
very
does not
good.
age. That is true.
He looked the exact same when he was a rookie
Yep.
to when he was 40 years old or
Yeah.
however he is now.
Definitely.
So good job.
Thanks.
You passed
I
your
struggled a little bit, but
Bachelor and Rockies matchup.
yes.
So I know I said it before, but it's just so impressive how strong your fandom has been for the team through all the many, many losing seasons they've had. You've stayed loyal, and that is very impressive. So I tip my cap to your Rockies fandom.
Thank you. I wouldn't have it any other way.
So I'm hoping that you can come on and talk about other teams as well. Now that you'll be a returning guest, you can just talk about anything. You don't have to talk about your
Ooh,
fandom. So we'll have you on
exciting.
again some other time.
That sounds great. Thanks
All right.
for having me.
All right. Thanks, Krista.
Bye.